Good afternoon and welcome to this regular meeting of the Board of Estimate Taxation for October 11, 2023. I am Samantha Priestinson, the President of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll so we may verify the presence of a quorum.
Board Member Fry is absent. Board Member Abene.
Present.
Board Member Jenkins is absent. Board Member Koski.
Present.
Vice President Brandt. President Priestinson.
Present.
There are 4 members present.
Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum, and we will now proceed to our agenda, a copy of which has been posted for public access to the city's legislative information management system, which is available at lims.minneapolismn.gov. Now we move to board members. The agenda for today's meeting is before us. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a proper motion before us. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the agenda is adopted. Moving on to the acceptance of minutes from September 13th, 2023. May I please have a motion to accept the minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a proper motion before us. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Next, we move on to public comment, which is item 4 on the agenda. We welcome members of the public to make public comments related to current board business. Per our bylaws, the public comment period will be limited to a total of 10 minutes. The clerk informs me that we have no speakers for today signed up to speak. Normally, we would allot for 2 minutes for each people, up to 5, but we have none today, so we will move on from that on to item 5 on the agenda, which is the financial status quarterly report from our city controller, Lyle Hodges. Thank you, Lyle.
President Priestinson, members of the board, thank you for having me. As introduced, my name is Lyle Hodges with the city's Finance and Property Services Department. I'm here to present the financial status report as of the second quarter 2023 for select city funds.
I will take a short pause to acknowledge that our council president, Andrea Jenkins, has joined us. Welcome. Please continue, Mr. Hodges.
So starting off with an overview, the financial recovery from the pandemic is ongoing at the city. The first bullet point here is a real highlight for us, especially in the Finance and Property Services Division, but it's a note that in August of 2023, the Fitch rating agency did upgrade the city's credit rating from AA plus to AAA, which is their highest rating, and that Standard & Poor's confirmed our AAA rating that we've received from them in the past. So the city now has the highest possible credit rating from those 2 agencies for the first time since 2016. So we were proud of that accomplishment in finance and property services, and of course requires a lot of work across the entire enterprise. Parking revenues are rebounding, and we are projected to finish 2023 above budget in the parking fund. Our local taxes are projected to exceed the 2022 amount as well as the current year's budget. And that'd be the second consecutive year for that. And our ARPA spending continues to support all of the planned activities in response to the public health and economic impacts of the pandemic. Continuing with the overview, the total net book value of the total book value of our cash and investments as of June 30th, 2023 was approximately $1.1 billion. It's a slight decrease of $29.5 million from where we were at the same time in 2022. The city is meeting fund balance and net position and cash reserve minimums in all but just a few funds. So listed here are the 3 instances where we are projected to not meet that minimum balance. And the first one is self-insurance. So in the self-insurance fund, we have long-term actuarially determined liabilities, which continue to impact our net position. However, we do have a cash balance in that fund of $130.1 million as of June 30th. Secondly, the parking fund, while it's recovering and revenues are up, we do still see an impact on the cash balance not meeting the minimum that we'd like to see. And then finally, property services is spending down cash that they've accumulated over the past few years on projects that were delayed for any number of reasons that we can think of related to pandemic, supply, and supply chain issues.
Slight interjection again. Want to recognize that Mayor Fry has joined us. Welcome, Mayor Fry. Please continue, Mr. Hodges.
Okay, now looking at the general fund, again, just a reminder, this is where we account for all financial resources except for those legally required to be accounted for elsewhere. We are projecting the 2023 ending fund balance in the general fund to be $177.2 million. It's a slight increase over where we ended 2022. It does exceed our 17% minimum fund balance. Based on our policy, that target for 2023 would be $110 million. And again, we project to finish at 177. The 2023 original budget included some planned use of fund balance, and then we had a rollover of appropriation from 2022, which increased that planned use. But as you can see, and as I'll show in the next few pages, the actual fund balance will increase. Cash balance at year-end 2022, our general fund cash balance was $195.4 million. As of June 30th, that cash balance was just $54.7 million. Again, maybe as a reminder, the June 30th cash balance in the general fund is often the low point of the year because we have not yet recorded our property tax revenues, which accounts for a significant portion of our general fund revenue. This next slide breaks down the general fund revenue by source or by category. The bar chart at the top of the slide represents the blue solid bars are the budget, while the green checked bars are projected amounts. In the table down below, a couple things to highlight. Property taxes, we often project that we won't collect 100% of our property taxes. We know historically that there are some delinquencies in that area, so we don't project full collection. Third line from the bottom is state aids. You see kind of a significant variance between what the budget is and what we project to collect. That variance is approximately $18.6 million more than we have budgeted. That's due to one-time public safety aid that the city will be receiving as a result of legislative action at the state. We do expect to receive that in December of 2023, and those funds will be spent on public safety purposes as dictated by the legislation and future years. Looking at the next slide, we've got the general fund revenue projected to finish the year slightly higher than our average collections. So this bar chart represents over the past 3 years, we see that we usually collect about 100.2% of our revenue in the general fund, and we are projecting 104% in 2023. Again, that's nearly all attributable to that one-time state aid, public safety state aid. Moving on to expenditures in the general fund, very similar slide. This represents expenditures by major department. This may look a little bit different than usual due to the government restructure. 2023 is the first year that we are reporting departments in this structure, and so the lines are a little bit different, but the information is the same. Left-hand bar in the chart is the budget. The right-hand bar is the projected amounts. Here again, we can kind of see some departments are generally trending under budget. Oftentimes that's due to salary savings. We do see public works being projected over budget again. That's primarily due to unplanned snow emergencies, snow events of that nature. And then finally, public safety is projected to be over budget, both for police and fire, and primarily due to overtime staffing costs in both of those departments. The last line in the table below represents all other expenditures. In that line is our contingency funding, so that's why you see a $15.8 million underspending projection, because we typically don't project to spend contingency. Of course, that can change as the year carries on. The next slide represents general fund expenditures. Again, this is a three-year look back, and so what we see here is historically we spend about 95.5% of our budget. We are projecting in 2023 that we will spend 97.2% of the budget, so just slightly more than average, but still less than budgeted. The next several slides take groups of funds and present them together. So the first group that we'll take a look at is the special revenue funds. These funds, as it states there, are used to account for and report the proceeds of specific revenue sources that are restricted or committed to expenditures for specified purposes. The second bullet point lists the significant funds that were represented here. Overall, total fund balance is projected to end 2023 with a $5 million increase over the 2022 amount. Cash, however, is projected to decrease by nearly $70 million. Again, that's almost exclusively due to our spend down of our ARPA cash. So if you remember, in 2021 and 2022, we received $271 million of cash up front from the federal government, which we are in the process of spending down. So you will see the cash balance in this group of funds be spent down. And the next slide is a table representing each fund's cash and fund balance for what ended 2022 and what we project 2023 to end at. As you can see, generally minor changes up or down, but about 2/3 of the way down the page, we have the grant funds cash decreasing by $74 million. Again, ARPA spend down. The next group of funds we'll talk about is the internal service funds. So these are the funds that we use to provide services internally to other city funds, including the 6 funds that we have listed in the second bullet point. The total net position of this group of funds is projected to end 2023 at $70.6 million, which is a $6 million increase from where we ended 2022. And total cash is projected to decrease by $11.9 million from where it was in 2022. Again, this reflects consistent spending in accordance with budgeted amounts and planned projects. The next slide again is a table of each of the 6 funds and their cash and net position changes from 2022 actual to 2023 projected. Again, pretty stable cash and net position in most funds with some spend down. Again, property services in the middle of the page there, we can see they're projecting a larger spend down, and that's due again to those delayed projects that they're getting to in 2023. And then the last group of funds are our enterprise funds. So these are our business-like operations where we are selling goods and services to external parties. It includes all of our utility funds and our CPED enterprise fund. Total net position in this group of funds is projected to end 2023 at just over $1.1 billion, a $5.5 million increase from where we were at the end of 22. The projected total cash is going to be approximately $111.5 million, which is a $20 million decrease from where we ended 2022. As noted, their cash is stable in most funds with a planned decrease in stormwater and water due to capital spending, drawing down some of that accumulated cash balances. And then the final slide here is again a table of each of the enterprise funds where they ended 2022 and where we project them to end 2023 in terms of cash and net position by fund. And again, here you can see stormwater and water are having the largest decreases in their cash balance. Again, planned spending on capital projects. And that is all I have for you, so I will stand for questions.
Pardon, Vice President Brandt.
Thank you for the presentation. I want to start by making sure I understand your role in the whole finance department. My sense is that this is essentially a bookkeeping report, and you are sort of the chief bookkeeper, but not the person who is responsible for projecting, say, the situation in the parking fund or various other funds. That's somebody else's job?
President Priest and Vice President Brandt. Yeah, that's correct. So in my role as controller in Finance and Property Services, generally financial reporting and accounting is my purview. And so, yes, this is a collection of reports that are prepared by accountants that work within the controller's division. The analysis and projections are discussed with departments over the course of the year. And we kind of distill all that information into really into this kind of larger 70-page report, and then we further distill that down into just a few slides here.
Thank you for that explanation. I wanted to say that we've been through a tumultuous time here in Minneapolis in a lot of different ways, and you may have a prescribed format that you use under general accounting principles. Do you have the latitude to go beyond that in certain areas by providing more information in this report? The reason I ask is, for example, sometimes looking at where we are this year and where we were last year is not sufficient in the sense that we've been through a period where we were normal and then we were very abnormal, and now we're getting closer to normal, and it would really help me to have even a 5-year look back on some of these areas. And is that something you see any need for or would be willing to provide?
President Priest and Vice President Brandt, yeah. So the format of this document is really up to kind of management's decision. We have other documents that we present or prepare that are very formulated, and we're restricted in the layout and the content of those. But certainly this is one where we have some latitude to make decisions about what we present. I think in the decision-making process or in the analysis process to get to this point, we do a lot more look back and look forward, and so trying to find that compromise between digestible content and the full scope of everything that we could present is kind of how we landed with where we are in this report. But certainly we could add additional content if it added valuable context for you.
Or even an appendix would be helpful.
Sure.
That would include that data. Want to ask about the parking fund, and you're the only representative of the Finance Department here today, so I understand that you may or may not be able to answer this. But for example, in the parking fund, one reason given for the current status is transfer to other funds. My impression has been that the parking fund has been relatively stressed for the last few years because of the lack of customers. And I'm wondering if, given that, why would it be transferring money out as opposed to getting money transferred in?
President Priest and Vice President Brandt, that's a great question, and one that we consider. So for example, at the end of 2022, we evaluated the cash balance of the parking fund, and we did actually return a portion of the amount that was previously transferred to the general fund. We transferred that back. And the idea is that the parking fund historically has sufficiently supported its operations with an excess that we then transfer to the general fund to support things that kind of help administer the parking fund in general. And so that structure has been in place historically, and it's something that we do evaluate each year as we get closer to year end to see, are we going to be meeting our fund balance or our cash balance needs, and is there available revenue in the general fund that we can return back to the parking fund. So that is a consideration that we make.
And then in terms of the property tax collections, what collection percentage did you budget and how has it been running?
So the property tax collection that we budget has changed over time, so I don't want to misspeak. But generally, I think what we do is we budget about 98% collection rate. And we budget a 100% collection rate, and then we project a 98% collection rate. And that, again, is just based on history in any given year, we collect a certain percentage of that year's tax levy, and we also collect a certain percentage of previous year's delinquent tax levies. And so that cumulative collection looks like it's coming from one year, but it's really multiple years of levies showing up in that year, so.
Is that then allocated back to the proper year? Or is it on a cash basis?
So the collections are all recorded in the year that we actually collect them, so.
I see. And have you seen any variance from what you have historically budgeted in terms of the collection rate?
They've been pretty consistent, actually, surprisingly consistent considering the other turmoil in some of the financial areas. The property taxes have been consistent.
So people want to hang on to their houses. I'll leave that. I wanted to ask about a couple of areas that are listed in, I think, the expenditures area. When you say public safety, are you essentially including the same departments that are under the new, I believe it's Office of Public Safety or Community Safety?
Yes, that's correct. The new Department of Public Safety, which includes 911, emergency management, fire, police, and I'm forgetting one, I think, but yeah.
And when you say legislative department, are we talking about the clerk and the expanded research staff there, plus IGR, or is IGR separated? And is there anything else that I'm missing?
So the legislative department under the new government structure is, the city clerk and council, as well as the city audit function. I believe IGR is in a different area.
Okay. And then finally, the state grants that were referenced for public safety purposes. I'm assuming those didn't go to the police special revenue fund because that'd be a much larger amount. Would they be included under the grant special revenue fund, or are they routed in a different way?
Right now, we have them represented in the general fund itself. That could change as we look at the most appropriate place to account for those proceeds. But for right now, in this quarterly report, they are showing up as revenue in the general fund.
Great, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Vice President Jenkins, followed by Commissioner Benny.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's President Jenkins, but it's all good. And the astute and very erudite Vice Chair Brandt asked all my questions, so I'm good. Thank you. And thank you, Vice President Brandt.
Thank you, President Jenkins, and Commissioner Benny.
Thank you, President Priestinson. And actually, there were some great questions coming from my colleague on the left here, but it stimulated a couple of things, and I had a question of my own. But just generally, I wanted to comment, it's interesting that the parking revenue can go to the general fund. At the park board, the parking revenue is in their enterprise fund, which is commingled with golf fees and things like that. So it's a different model. But I also did notice that the general fund does pay for some public works, funds quite a bit for public works as well, outside of the enterprises that are public works related. So that was interesting. Thank you. And thank you for the presentation. I wonder if you could go back to the slide on the utility enterprises. Okay. So we've been taking, at the park board, been taking a little bit of an interest in the stormwater utility, and I'm actually just curious. So the cash position, okay, that's helpful. So the first stormwater line, for example, going from 43 million, right, down to 32 million, is that anticipated revenue totals or for the whole calendar year?
President Priestinson, Board Member Robine, the change in cash represents all inflows into the fund minus all the outflows. And so this just represents that we expect the outflows to be greater than the inflows for the current year, which will decrease cash.
So the fund isn't collecting fewer dollars than it has in previous years. I see. Well, that's what I had, that was my question. Thank you.
Vice President Brandt, do you have additional questions? Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, fabulous. Thank you so much for presenting to us today. I'll ask the clerk to receive and file this presentation and take us to our item 6 on the agenda, which is adopting the draft calendar for our 2024 meetings. Colleagues, does anybody have any questions, comments, or requests for revision regarding this draft? I'll start out, which I normally never do, which is just, you may not know this, but will we still have you with us, Commissioner Abene, for the following calendar year?
I'll put my hat, my name in the hat, but, you know, it'll be up to my colleagues, so I won't know until January.
Understood. All right. Sir, Vice President Brandt.
Thank you. I noted in looking over the draft calendar that there are 3 quarterly controller reports scheduled, and I'm guessing we should have 4. Does anybody know about where the 4th one went and
Yes.
when we should anticipate?
I'll have you come back up, but if I recall, this question came up before, and it's due to timing of when financials are due and other things, so you wouldn't see the 4th quarter report show up for this year. It would come the following year after everything's reconciled and done. So you kind of, the timing of the quarterly reports doesn't necessarily happen right in the quarter when you're talking about the Q4 report. Is that roughly accurate, or are there additions to that?
Yeah, President Prieston and Vice President Brandt, that's correct. We actually only prepare 3 quarterly reports in any given year because, excuse me, because of the timing of the first quarter. It closes right around the time we're doing our annual financial statements and around the time we're ramping up budget preparation for the next year. And so there just really isn't time for staff to do a first quarter. Plus, at that point in the year, actual spending isn't representative of what we really project, and projected spending is so far away from the end of the year that we just don't see the value in doing a first quarter. But yes, the 4th quarter actually lands kind of in that first quarter of the subsequent year.
And then I had a second
Yes.
observation about the calendar. I think this schedule, draft schedule, follows the pattern that we've had this year for sure and previously, that puts the budget presentation, the budget overview, I should say, at the first meeting in September, about a week before we approve the maximum levies. And I, for one, would find it helpful to have more than a week to look at the budget and think about it and ask questions about it before I'm expected to vote on it. And I wondered if there's any practical reason we can't push that forward to, say, one of our August meetings, just so we have a little bit more time to digest a pretty thick document. I'd be curious what others thought.
Mayor Fred, did you have a? I only look to you because you're the mayor that proposes our budget and all the things, and there is a rhyme and a reason to the dates, but you might be able to articulate that a bit better than what I'm able to at the moment. And then Commissioner Abene.
Can I just make sure I understand the proposal? You're talking about moving the date through which the maximum levy would be voted on back or up?
President Priestance and Mayor, no, I was asking about the budget presentation, the budget overviews that are given by the city and by the
I understand.
Park Board, moving those into August. I
understand.
suspect the city council has had them at that point, and I would just find it easier to digest before we then
Sure.
vote on the maximum levies.
So I don't have any issue with that offhand. I, of course, would need to check with staff to determine whether it's any additional difficulty for them.
I will say that I do remember this coming up before, and I do believe that Director Dye, it was a stretch for staff a little bit, but we should still ask and find out for sure. And the second thing I was going to say is, you know, unless our own calendars, I know we conduct our business here, but if hearing that information beforehand and it's already happening in another spot, you know, it's not like we need to be sitting up here per se, but we could be invited to the meeting where the council and everyone else is already hearing it, which might be the thing that makes the most sense, and just make ourselves available to be there for that and not have to do it a second time. That seemed to be what the crux was last time this came up. Mayor Fry and then Vice President Brand.
Madam Chair, I believe you're right. So the council needs to go first in getting that presentation, and following the August 15th budget presentation, staff just needs to have enough time to prepare the presentation for the council. And then, of course, once it's prepared, I don't see a reason why we would need to delay dramatically after that. But there needs to be enough gap there between the initial presentation by the mayor and then the council's presentation for them to literally draft the document.
President Priest-Stinson and Mr. Mayor, I would make the observation that we vote on a maximum levy in September, and the council doesn't vote to actually set the levy until December, and I believe that they don't have any formal irreversible actions in the time period we're talking about. So perhaps one way to handle this is to approve the calendar as submitted, and I'd be willing to talk to the finance director and see if there's any wiggle room there or some other solution she can come up with.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I also like the idea of if we were able to just be at the meeting where council is, that also eliminates some exhaustion for our colleagues up here who have to hear it twice. I'm thinking of y'all. And actually makes it just easier on staff. So let's talk it out and see what we can figure out that makes sense, and thinking about staff and their timing and actually how many times they have to give that presentation. I'm not saying like, you know, they don't have to do their job, but there is a level of exhaustion when you got to give the same presentation over and over. So if we can just coordinate to get all the right folks in the right space the first time, it might actually meet all of our needs. We'll have that conversation for sure.
And just to follow up on that, if I might, one difference between going to a council presentation of the budget and having it presented to us is, of course, we don't have the opportunity to ask questions about anything that's unclear. So I bring, that's one reason, unless, I don't know if there's any provision under the city charter for a joint meeting of the two, but that would be probably pretty unwieldy by the time all the questions got asked.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Mayor Fry?
I think, Madam Chair, I think that's a great idea. I would defer to our budget chair, though, on what she deems appropriate.
Yeah. I happen to have a meeting set up this week about something else, and I'm perfectly happy to throw that in and just put it on the radar for them to think about. And our Councilmember Koski.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's an excellent idea to explore, and happy to continue the conversation. I think it's about not working harder, but smarter here. So happy to, continue to work with the clerk's office and figure out how that can be done. But we are entering into a new term, so it's a note that I shall make for the future budget chair to consider. But you will still be here, so we can continue to keep that in our minds here.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that is another important point. There might be different configurations. Committees can turn into different things. Lots of different things happen when there's new folks in space. I'm hoping to be over there as vice president. Loved serving as president the last 2 years, but this will be something that you will likely inherit anyways, future President Brandt. So if there's not any other, I think the only other thing just quickly to name is, depending on what we do end up working out, there are always meetings where it just so happens to be there is no business, but they're on the calendar. So if there is an adjustment, there's always a meeting where we can slide something over into, because sometimes there just ends up being that there's no business, or the business that was planned needs to move to a different date for whatever the reasons might be. So there is flexibility there to figure something out, and we will, I'll prioritize getting us coordinated. getting all the right folks on the same page. With that being said, may I have a motion to adopt the draft calendar? Is there a second? Proper motion is before us. Is there any discussion? Vice President Brandt? No? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We don't have the announcement section, but I do have just a very quick announcement that at our next BET meeting, we will have a presentation from Abdo. It's been a year since we've had this contract, so it's a good time to discuss what they've been working on. There's some things that I want to discuss around the contract itself, and just what's been working well and what hasn't, since I'm, for the most part, the one interacting the most. So we'll have that discussion and a presentation for them so that we can have that discussion at the following meeting. So if you're thinking about questions that you have, now's a good time to get those thinking caps on around that. We'll have an opportunity to hear from them and also just have a discussion about how things have been going. Since this contract has been something new that we've done in previous, we've had a staffer. So I'm looking forward to that discussion and just wanted to put it on your radar that will be for our following meeting. With that being said, we have completed all business to come before us, and without objection, we stand adjourned. Thank you.